Let me ask you something before we start. Have you noticed how grocery bills quietly became one of the biggest expenses in your life, without you ever agreeing to it? One week you're spending $100, the next week it's $150, then suddenly $200 feels normal, and you don't even feel like you bought more food. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because today I'm sharing 7 things I personally do to save money on groceries that actually work in real life. Not extreme, not unrealistic, and not the kind of advice that makes you miserable. And I want you to stay till the end, because the final habit is the one that saved me the most money over time. Even though it sounds simple at first, most people ignore it, and that's exactly why it works. Before we jump in, let me say this clearly. I'm not a coupon expert. I'm not living on rice and beans. I still enjoy food, snacks, and the occasional treat. These are habits that fit into a normal American lifestyle. If you've ever wondered how some people seem calm at the grocery store while others panic at checkout, this video will explain why. So let's start at the beginning. The first thing I do to save money on groceries happens before I ever step foot inside a store. I never shop without a plan. And when I say a plan, I don't mean a strict diet or a complicated spreadsheet. I mean, I already know what meals I'm making for the week before I shop. For years, I used to walk into grocery stores hoping inspiration would strike. I'd wander aisles, grab what looked good, and somehow leave with bags full of random food that didn't turn into meals. That's how money disappears quietly. When you don't plan meals, you buy ingredients that don't work together, which leads to food waste, extra takeout, and repeat grocery trips. Now, before I shop, I mentally map out breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the week. Nothing fancy. Just realistic meals I know I'll actually eat. When I shop with meals in mind, every item has a job. Nothing is just there because it looked interesting. And that alone cut my grocery spending more than any coupon ever did. Quick question for you. Do you usually shop with meals in mind, or do you decide what to cook after you get home? Drop a comment, because this one habit separates budget-friendly shoppers from accidental overspenders. The second thing I do is something that feels boring but saves an unbelievable amount of money. I stick to the same grocery store most of the time. I know that sounds strange in a world where everyone compares prices online, but hear me out. When you shop at the same store consistently, you learn it. You know which items are overpriced, which go on sale often, and which brands are actually good value. You stop getting tricked by fancy packaging and fake discounts. You also learn the layout, which means fewer impulse buys because you're not wandering around discovering new temptations. Every store has items it's cheap on and items it's expensive on. When you constantly switch stores, you never build price awareness. But when you stay loyal to one main store, you start noticing patterns. That awareness alone saves money because you stop paying premium prices without realizing it. And if your store has a loyalty program, even better. Those small discounts add up quietly over time. Not in a dramatic way, but in a consistent, stress-free way. Let me know in the comments. Do you shop at one main grocery store, or do you bounce between multiple stores each week? Now, let's talk about something that sounds obvious, but almost nobody actually does it properly. The third thing I do is I eat before I shop. Every single time. Shopping while hungry is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. When you're hungry, everything looks good. Snacks jump into your cart. Convenience foods feel justified. And suddenly you're buying things your future self didn't ask for. When I shop after eating, my brain is calm. I don't feel rushed or emotional. I buy what I planned instead of what my stomach demands. This one habit alone can reduce impulse spending by a shocking amount. If you've ever gone to the store hungry and thought, "How did this total get so high?" You already know this works. Coming up next is a habit that most people resist at first, but once it clicks, you'll never shop the same way again. The fourth thing I do is I stop buying convenience and start buying ingredients. Not all the time, but intentionally. Pre-cut, pre-packaged, and ready-to-eat foods cost more because you're paying for time and packaging. When I shifted even part of my grocery shopping toward basic ingredients, my bill dropped without reducing how much food I ate. Instead of individual snack packs, I buy larger sizes and portion them myself. Instead of pre-seasoned or pre-marinated items, I buy plain versions and add flavor at home. It doesn't mean cooking from scratch every night. It means being aware of what convenience is costing you. And here's the important part. I don't do this perfectly. I still buy some convenience items because life is busy. But being intentional instead of automatic makes all the difference. Quick check-in. Would you rather save money or save time at the grocery store? There's no wrong answer, but awareness gives you control. Now let's talk about one of the biggest money leaks people don't even realize they have. The fifth thing I do is I stop chasing deals and start chasing consistency. Sales can be dangerous, not because sales are bad, but because they encourage buying things you wouldn't normally buy. I stopped grabbing items just because they were on sale. Instead, I focus on buying the same affordable staples week after week. When you have a core set of meals and ingredients you repeat, grocery shopping becomes predictable. Predictability is powerful. It makes budgeting easier. It reduces stress, and it prevents overbuying. When something I already buy goes on sale, great. I stock up reasonably. But I don't let discounts decide my diet. That mindset shift saved me money without feeling restrictive. If this is making sense so far, take a second to like the video. It helps more people find practical money advice that actually works. The sixth thing I do is something most people skip because it feels unnecessary. I track my grocery spending monthly, not daily. I don't stress over individual receipts. I just look at my total grocery spending at the end of the month. When you see that number regularly, it changes how you shop without effort. Tracking creates awareness. Awareness creates better decisions. When I noticed my grocery spending creeping up, I didn't panic. I adjusted. Maybe fewer snacks one month. Maybe fewer impulse items the next. Small changes compound. And here's the key. I track groceries separately from eating out. When you lump them together, you lose clarity. Groceries should feed you for weeks. Restaurants are instant gratification. Separating them keeps your budget honest. Stay with me, because the final habit ties everything together. The seventh thing I do is I respect groceries as a system, not a single trip. Most people treat grocery shopping like isolated events. But it's not. It's a cycle. What you buy affects what you waste. What you waste affects what you replace, and that affects your budget. I regularly check my fridge and pantry before shopping. I plan meals around what I already have. I freeze leftovers intentionally. I use what I buy. This mindset shift changed everything for me. When groceries become a system instead of a habit, waste drops, spending drops, and stress drops. And here's the truth most people don't talk about. Saving money on groceries isn't about deprivation. It's about alignment. When your shopping matches your lifestyle, your budget stops fighting you. Let me ask you this. Which of these habits do you already do, and which one do you want to try next? Comment below. I read them, and it helps shape future videos. If this video helped you think differently about grocery shopping, share it with someone who complains about grocery prices every week. And if you want more practical money habits that actually work in real life, follow this page so you don't miss the next one. Because saving money doesn't have to feel like sacrifice. It just needs strategy, awareness, and a little patience. And remember, groceries aren't just food. They're one of the easiest places to take control of your finances, starting this week.